welcome back to GamerNerdz, everybody. So today, me and Voyce are going to be reviewing a game called Deus Ex Human Revolution.
Yep.
Recently released by Eidos Montreal, Big Up Montreal. Very popular sequel to a very popular series.
It's a prequel.
Well, it actually is a prequel, set in the year 2027 in Detroit. We're focused around a security officer of Seraph Industries named Mr. Adam Jensen.
Yes.
And the whole purpose of the game is the exploration of human augmentation,
well, pretty much
body modification.
The game story really focuses on, I guess, the ethical issues about human augmentation. It is a reflection on today's society. I find that's a good job. I don't know how you feel about that.
You can tell he's a hippie at PTA. Obviously, you're pro-augmentation because you work for Seraph Industries.
Yeah.
Certain events take place at the beginning of the game, and you basically become this high military grade, crazy augmented monster with swords for arms and
glasses implanted into your brain.
Which I never really understood because Adam wears glasses throughout the whole game, but I guess it has his retinal, whatever. Kind of does explore both sides of the coin. You have the other side where people are against augmentation. There's a whole dark side to it where people get addicted to the drugs and norphazine. So you have that conflict. The game progresses as Adam's trying to find out what's happened to his beloved, and you meet some very interesting characters who kind of help push the story through.
This is my major issue with the game. The focus at the beginning really is about, like you were saying, the ethical issue, about pro-augmentation or not. The game starts out that way, really strong, got me really hooked. I was really, looking forward to seeing what's gonna happen. And then it meets that midpoint where the story suddenly goes in a different tangent and
not even. I don't think even the middle. I think the main antagonist reveals himself. It's not that surprising who it was in the end. And I think the ending of the game is kind of the weakest thing, because if you guys have played Metal Gear, which the game is clearly inspired by, but it does it much better. It's actually a story in a game in one, not just a cutscene. Not just a cutscene. Yeah. Very strong beginning, ending kind of falls flat.
I was just really happy by the time we get to Montreal in the game. I was excited. But that's the thing. Like there's some characters
in the Olympic Stadium. Places.
The game has, certain characters. There's a certain reporter, for example, that, you keep seeing throughout the game. At the beginning, I just kind of thought she was this background character, and then once it's revealed what she really is, it really kind of felt like, what?
You've never played other games because he doesn't play PC games, but if you played Deus Ex, and most of you who are watching this review have, it suits it perfectly, and this reporter who, reveals herself at one point wasn't a surprise. I kind of saw it coming.
Oh, really?
But in general, the story, the writing is fantastic. The voice delivery for the most part is really good, except Pritchard. I hate you. You're the worst, most annoying. I can't even, his accent, it's like semi quasi-British English, and he's just irritating through the whole game, so he sucks.
The game is one of those games that, focuses on, what choices you make. The story progresses in that respect. Your actions do reflect what happens in the game, but ultimately at the end, it doesn't really matter. The resolution at the end of the game really felt kind of like, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there are certain endings, and then they're just based on choices that are made honestly just at the end of the game, and everything you've done before doesn't really reflect in the end. That bothered.
All I'll say is that if you beat the game, stay for the end of the credits. That reveals a lot and sets up Deus Ex 1 and 2. Who thought Square Enix would make a game that has a good story?
Final Fantasy 7 was good.
No, listen.
Alright, so getting into the gameplay of Deus Ex. How can I guess, how do you categorize this game? It's kind of weird to try to fit it in a box. It's an RPG, it's a first-person, third-person shooter, it's stealth, it has everything.
No, it can be stealth.
Well, exactly. If
you choose to play it.
And that's the thing about the game. The game gives you choice. You really can approach the game from different points of views, depending on how you decide to play. If you're like me, I'm stealthy, I called myself the Angel of Sleep.
He actually called himself
the Angel of Sleep. Because most games that give you options on how to play don't necessarily play all parts properly. This game is solid on all fronts.
That actually is the best argument I've ever heard from you.
That's
ever. At its core, it is an RPG. It has an open world element. There are basically hub cities to explore. The game is centered in Detroit. You visit Port City Hengsha, which is very impressive. Multi-layered. You look up at the sky. It's the floor of the next level. Montreal, because the game is developed here, so big up Montreal developers. The core thing is this third-person, first-person shooter, third-person action. Honestly, it does stealth better than Metal Gear ever could. Obviously, it's inspired by it, but it just blows it out of the water. The key thing here, so on top of the guns and the takedowns or your augmentations, so as you gain experience by reading books, exploring new areas, or going through events,
or hacking.
Seemingly, there are vents to every secret room. Maybe there's a security protocol for that, or the cool hacking game, which we'll get into in a second. But augmentations, for stealth, increase your health, or to punch through walls, take down two guys at once with your sword, blade, elbow, arms,
whatever the hell those are, or to suddenly become invisible and
which is really cool.
Yep.
What he said was, it's kind of how you decide to play it. You can go completely stealth, and there's an achievement to go, you know, not kill anybody, don't get detected, which I did. He didn't do it because he can't do it. Well, you can play that way, or you can play, you know, all out, balls to the wall action with the crazy guns and, you know.
Balls to the wall.
That's an actual statement, you know. So, so many ways to approach a scenario.
In this game, not only they give you the option, but the environments themselves cater to that. You can go on top of a building, you come down from the roof, you can go from the main door, you can go from a vent. I mean, really, how you decide to play the game is how you decide to play the game, and it works amazingly.
Last thing is the hacking, which I kind of want to point out. Most games hacking is like Mass Effect was link two buttons together and, you know,
actually like Mass Effect.
Let's not get into that. So the hacking in this actually is kind of cool, where you enter kind of like this folder structure scenario. Your hack, it alerts a security measure and it has time to reach you. You can slow it down with security worms or junk file folders. And it's kind of cool, and you kind of have to plan out what you're gonna do.
Yeah, but see, that's hacking. The hacking, I like the fact that you do plan your hacking, but at the end of the day, it still boils down to chance. I mean, the game doesn't. You can't aug up your hacking skills,
and it makes it so much easier.
So it does make it easier, but yeah, I didn't like that aspect of it being by chance. You know,
hey, he's just saying that. So on top of the main game, there's tons of side quests, there's people you get to meet. So I think it warrants multiple playthroughs. You play through it once, you know, being super stealthy. Play the second time with your Typhoon system, with your crazy guns, stealth kills up close. It's just, I haven't had that much fun playing a stealth game.
Here comes one of my main issues, and I'm gonna say this about a lot of games like Oblivion, Fallout, Resident Evil, where you do have a limit of how many items you can carry. You're gonna say, you know, it makes it more realistic, but honestly, if you're playing a game where you're walking around with a pistol, a machine gun, and other weapons, and suddenly you reach a limit, it makes no sense. You already broken the barrier of realism.
No. Okay, a game like Metal Gear Solid 4, where you can carry the entire arsenal of the game at once.
Yes, there we go.
Like pull out a railgun, and then a pistol, and then all the ammo. This one, you have limited space. You can carry probably 4 or 5 guns at once. Energy bars, some grenades. You can increase your overall capacity. I think the only thing is stupid is that if your capacity is full, which will happen, you need to drop an item,
which is annoying.
Pick one up. I guess the one moot point is the energy system, which he complained about. So I thought this was a fantastic idea. So everything you do in the game uses energy, whether it be takedowns, whether it be going invisible, whether it be punching through walls, and you only refill 1 energy bar. You can have up to 5 of them, and only 1 refill if you empty them, which I think is a good idea, because otherwise you could just sit there, refill everything, and just beat the game, no problem. This makes you choose. You have energy bars which refill your battery, which makes no sense, but anyways. And yeah, you can't just, you know, kill someone, go on stealth for 10 seconds, and then, you know, come back to everyone else. I thought it was a good choice, and kudos to Eidos making this.
No, it's a good choice. I just think having the takedowns attached to your energy level is retarded.
Well, he uses the sword elbow arms.
Do you really? Oh no, I'm so tired. Can't do anything else now because I punch so much.
He wishes he could do that, but I think it's a good combination of stealth, action, RPG, and it's one of the best games I've ever played.
Yeah, I'm just nitpicking. It's a great game.
The prequels, the sequels to this game were released within the last decade, so I guess it's no surprise that the Deus Ex series received a huge visual upgrade. The game is set in 2027, and I'll say it right now, the team did a really good job with just overall environments. It's all very technical. A lot of people complained about this yellow filter or the piss filter. Everything is yellow in this game. Filter. The first time you view Detroit, like, it has a nice yellow glow, and I actually loved it. Like, the colors didn't bother me. And I read the developers said they kind of were inspired by Renaissance art. And you'll see in, like, the outfits of your coworkers, the environments are all technical and lines. It's just a really pretty game.
You're absolutely right. The game is gorgeous. I say this a lot. It's gorgeous from a bird's eye point of view. Yeah, up close, the textures are nice and fine. What annoys me in this game is, first of all, the facial animations for any character other than the main characters are retarded.
Some are weird. Speaking of animation,
one of the first characters you do encounter apart from your main character is the CEO of Seraph Industries, Dave Seraph. I don't know what they modeled him after, but everything
it's very blocked out. The game, everything is angular. The clothing is all angular, which is fine. I think it goes with this overall setting, but it's just really surprising that Adam Jensen's voice work and his lip syncing are okay, but everyone else's, like, it's really bad.
It's like they literally didn't try. I noticed polygons.
I think that's a stylistic choice though. The game has, it's not all like, you know, rectangular as Virtua Fighter. The funniest thing about this is just Adam meets a lot of people and it's just this default talking animation of his where it's literally this. It's not even, his arms are folded. It's like his arms are on top of each other and he leans to the side. So we're thinking like, where did they play a lot of Saints Row? Clearly the developers like the internet community and stuff. If you guys know about Rage Comics, there's the Forever Alone guy, reference to 4chan, but you're a crazy, you know, tier 1 augmented badass, and you have to...
So it's not just what he does, it's also when he does it. You'll be in mid-conversation, something really deep, and he just literally just goes to the side and I just die laughing.
So that, I think, was unintentionally humorous. Maybe we just the ones that noticed it.
Terrible.
Visually, the game is fantastic. There's some stuttering issues. It's not perfectly from a technical standpoint, but it looks fantastic. One of my favorite things for, you know, all games is music, and you've obviously, you know, heard this in previous reviews.
I don't know how many times this guy sent me like YouTube videos of the music.
The soundtrack for the game, and I love Mass Effect soundtrack. Anything synth 80s is fantastic, and this has just this fantastic brooding synth vibe. The Icarus sound, the song that I sent you, it's 2 minutes. Go watch it. It's the single best piece of video game music I've ever heard in my life. Sound is fantastic, and
the voice acting is really good. I mean, the main character, some
except Pritchard,
idiot. Pritchard sounds like a whiny little. Great looking game. You know, it has some issues. Music is amazing. Voice acting is great.
It has some issues. Just summarize.
There's some bugs, but yeah, honestly, yeah, good job.
It's fantastic.
One thing I liked about this game is that they didn't just tack on anything on it. You know, so a lot of games right now come out with multiplayer that doesn't need to be in it, and this game did not do that, so I'm really happy. There's the main story. It's about, what, 15 to 20 hours? In my case, 7, because, you know, I play through games.
Easy, and just blaze through it with the walkthrough, probably.
Actually, you know what? Actually, I started off the game on hard, that quickly turned to normal.
It's too hard!
In the main story, like we're saying, there's a lot of choices you can make. Characters can die. You can hack the computers. The computers themselves have emails. If you take the time to read all the emails, you'll be there forever.
One thing I've noticed is that a lot of Voice's Nigerian relatives still live in 2027. Typical Nigerian 419 scams. They did a really good job. There's emails, people are talking about you potentially being seen. There's just a lot of like real world happening. You meet all these interesting characters.
Side quests.
A lot of side quests which you can miss. A lot of ways you can gain XP by just exploring areas that you weren't supposed to.
There are a lot of side quests and they're a lot of fun. My issue though is that a lot of side quests do require you to do a lot of backtracking. RPGs are infamous for backtracking, going back and forth from place to place, and it gets repetitive and annoying, and you kind of like,
Anyways, you have the regular version of the game. There's something called the augmented version, which had a really, really boring map pack. The good news is that there was a DLC just recently released called The Missing Link. If you love the game, you'll definitely want to get it. It's a little expensive. It's $15, but it's about 5 hours worth. Again, the game is heavily inspired by Metal Gear. It does it better. You definitely want to get this. Content-wise, there's a lot there to do. Warrants multiple playthroughs. Eidos Montreal, you guys did a fantastic job.
Booyah.
Focus of the game is human augmentation, modification throughout surgery. My surgery? God damn it!